Hello everybody, it's Calaxin here with the RWBY Theory, but first, thanks to Huntsman tier patron Edwin and Academy Professor Jackson Buchanan for supporting me on Patreon. So anyway, let's jump into this theory. If you guys watched last week's episode, we all remember those two brother gods who, by the way, you know, two brothers, both of them, you know, created the Grimm, the Brothers Grimm, like that was really clever, Rooster Teeth, good job, but you didn't fool me. So what of light, what of darkness, they made peace and created man. If you guys remember, they also gave man knowledge, choice, creation, and destruction. And I believe that, yes, these relics are real pieces, obviously, because the schools were made to protect these pieces, but I have a theory on what's gonna happen with them, so get ready. So I looked for a trope to better describe this, but I couldn't, other than the trope, it was in you all along, but that didn't fit so well. So instead I'm gonna talk about another show to explain exactly what I think is going on and why this is all a little bit fishy, and that show is My Little Pony. Listen, I couldn't find better examples, and this is actually a good one. So, as you may know, there are 5 magical stones called the Elements of Harmony, I guess in the beginning of My Little Pony. I don't watch this show, so I don't know when this shit happened. Anyway, so basically, they need to find these stones that are in these ruins or whatever, and when everything goes to shit, Twilight realizes that all of the other ponies are the embodiment of the elements, which means that even though the elements are destroyed, like the stones get destroyed, they can like save the world or whatever, because it was in them all along. You see where I'm going with this? So basically, my theory is that RWBY is gonna do something similar. Yes, the relics are real, but something is gonna happen to them, or the relics need to be awakened with people that embody these traits. So knowledge, choice, creation, and destruction. That was 4, right?
I wasn't counting.
Anyway, let me explain. So, if the relics are similar to the Elements of Harmony, they can only be used by those who show that they are the embodiments of knowledge, choice, creation, and destruction. And so that's why I think that what's gonna happen is Salem needed to gather these 4 people who do, but also Crow-Ozpin also needed to do so as well. And you'll also remember that the only reason why this could work basically was because there was someone with magic, which was Twilight in My Little Pony, but this is basically gonna be Ozpin or Salem. And so this is what I think is gonna happen. So Salem will have her 4 powers of evil that represent knowledge, choice, creation, and destruction. Meanwhile, Ozpin will have his 4 powers of good, because the gods made it so they would have to choose between 2 paths, the good path and the evil path. So Salem represents that dark path, while Ozpin has that light path, and basically what humans can use knowledge, choice, creation, and destruction for good and for bad. And so basically, I think that at the end of the series, those 4 bad and those 4 good are going to come together and battle each other to unlock a great power that'll change the world. And for you Kingdom Hearts fans, you'll know that that's kind of the plot of Kingdom Hearts 3. 13 darknesses and then the 7 light come together, and they battle on sacred ground, which will unlock the great power, which is Kingdom Hearts, and change the world. So maybe it's possible that they could be kind of mixing these 2 tropes together, or these 2, I guess, elements together in RWBY, and this is eventually what will happen. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because I wanted to talk about the girls, and then the people that are on Salem's side and where they kind of fit into this, but I needed to explain all that nonsense first as to why I thought that this theory was kind of a good idea. So basically what I'm thinking is that Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang are the good. They are Ozpin's good side, while Cinder, Watts, Hazel, and Tyrian are Salem's bad team, and they were chosen because they embody the traits that are in the relics that Salem is currently trying to find. I'm not exactly sure where to place everybody, so I kind of have the girls overlap at times, but I think that I pretty much got it down. So for knowledge, it's going to be Ruby and Watts. And I see Ruby as the most knowledgeable in the group because she knows about Salem, the relics, the maidens, and all of this other, like all of this magic in the world, and she is using her power of knowledge to do good. She's trying to save the world from destruction. Meanwhile, Watts knows about all this. He obviously knows about everything Ruby does since he's with Salem, but he also has this knowledge of corruption within places of Atlas, and knows that there are flaws in the kingdoms, and it seems that he was the one who hacked the Vital Festival. There are tons of theories about that. Cinder has this phone where she's looking at their special little friend who does the hacking, and there's a W on it, and people think that's Watts. So obviously Watch is a very intelligent person and knowledgeable about things like that, since, again, he was able to kind of go through the kingdom's defenses. And then for choice, we have Blake and Hazel. In the last episode, there was a lot of talk about Blake choosing. She first chose darkness, which was kind of going with Adam, but then pulled herself up and tried to go back on the path of light. Her father talks about that a lot, that, like, she made two choices, basically. Like, she went on the dark path for a while, but then she changed back to the light, and it takes a person with lots of strength to do so. So it's very easy why she's here, especially with all that talk from last episode. And we haven't seen enough about Hazel to know his motives or anything, but by process of elimination, he kind of goes there. Since, you know, he is talking with the White Fang leader, it's kind of like he's the opposite of Blake. Maybe he was on the light path for a while, but then he went with the dark White Fang group or something like that. So that's a nice contrast to Blake, which is why if all of this, you know, goes the way that I've outlined, that's why he would go in that spot. So for creation, we have Weiss and Cinder. Weiss is able to create using her glyphs and uses this power to protect her friends and do good, as we see in Volume 3 when she makes that huge sword thing to protect Velvet and the other people that were fighting the Atlas soldiers and all of this stuff. So similar to Blake, she fits into this spot like a glove because obviously we see that there is a power of creation inside of her that is very unique, because not a lot of, I don't think any of the other characters have a semblance that is like hers. And then for Cinder, Cinder has the maiden powers, which means she's also able to create, but obviously she is using the maiden power for evil, and I think Cinder is going to be the only maiden who embodies one of the relics. And for destruction, I have Yang and Tyrion. So Yang and Tyrion are both destructive for very similar reasons. Yang has a very, like, Hulk-like semblance where she becomes angry and destroys her enemies. Meanwhile, Tyrion is able to do a good amount of damage of destroying by poisoning his enemies and, I guess, making them degenerate from the inside, if that's what his venom is gonna do to Crow. Crow death flags. We will see if this is even more proven if Crow dies, because that'll mean that Tyrion's poison actually destroyed something. However, I also have this kind of theory that Tyrion is going to be replaced by somebody else soon, and whoever his replacement is will also be in the destruction slot. I can see many different characters that we have currently for this, like Neo or Raven, but it might be a new character. We need to see what Salem does to punish Tyrion first, is what I'm trying to say, because Tyrion might be in some trouble, but we'll see. Anyway, so now that they have the team of 4, maybe looking like the team I suggested, and like I said before, Ozpin and Salem, who are basically the perfect contrast of each other in terms of what happens with magic, because kind of like I said before with the elements of harmony, you need somebody who embodies a trait of magic to kind of bring it all together, and that is Salem and Ozpin. You have the powers of the wizard that Ozpin seems to have and whatever the fuck that Salem has, for good and for evil. Anyway, I know this was a long theory, guys, and really confusing, but I really enjoyed working on it and using my knowledge of tropes and elements and other forms of media to be able to see how this all might fit together. And now Hunter is gonna tear me down. Hi.
So, in the early conceptual stages of RWBY, they were looking at the sheets in front of them, and they're brainstorming, and they thought, you know what this needs? My Little Pony. And not only My Little Pony, Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, I don't...
And actually, put them both together.
I was using those as more examples to try to find the trope I was talking about, because I tried to look, like, through the My Little Pony TV tropes thing to find exactly what this trope is called, because you know what I'm talking about, right?
Why My Little Pony?
Because it was the perfect example for what, it was the first thing that I thought of, because I needed to find the trope. Because I thought that, you know, it's kind of a common thing that sort of happens within TV shows, that, like, it was in you all along, you don't need the relic because you are the relic. You know what I mean? Like, it happens all the time, but I couldn't find a fucking trope for it. So I had to use My Little Pony as an example. I'm sorry. Sort of. I'm not. And also, Kingdom Hearts just kind of was thrown in there because I realized how this was all coming together. But you know, that's another sort of, I don't want to say tropey thing, but that's a thing that happens all the time. Like the 4 lights and the 4 darknesses going at it, you know?
You guys can't see it, but there's a clock behind her, and every like few minutes or so it ticks, and it has this death ding ding, and it tells Cal that she needs to mention Kingdom Hearts, so as her skin won't degenerate and the true demon inside of her be
Okay,
awakened.
this has nothing to do with the theory, okay? What do you think of my theory?
That the relics are actually the girl.
Yeah, and then Salem's 4 bad guys. Because you think about it, like 4 is a very important number. Like 4 relics, 4 kingdoms, the 4 teams, the 4 girls. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like something's going on here. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Is that all you're gonna say?
My one thing is though is that he literally said that each, like, you know, school was guarded.
Yeah, and so I'm saying that they are physical objects,
Yeah.
but they're also not. You know what I mean? Like they're physical objects, but they're also like
This is what
not
this
the
is
physical
this is what playing Kingdom Hearts will do to you, because you'll be like, no, you don't understand. You see, Ruby's actually just a character in someone else's dream, and they're half a heart and romance and ice cream, and but who am I gonna eat ice cream with? And let's go see Goofy in Disneyland, and other shit like this. So, do I think that someone at some point could have like some metaphysical? Obviously, there's a certain.
I'm saying that if the relics
There's
get
a-
destroyed, they don't need to be there because
Yeah,
the girls
there's a-
are the relics.
There's a certain degree of metaphysics. Clearly, you know, Ozpin.
I hurt my hand.
She just whacked it on the table. You guys missed that. But clearly Ozpin isn't, maybe he's a little bit like that, where he's not always, it's sort of a passed on.
Yeah,
It's kind of fluid, his
because
existence.
Ozpin, yeah.
So maybe if he can be Ozpin, it could be someone else. I don't see it. I'm not giving it a seal of approval.
No!
And in conclusion,
We're sorry.
My Little Pony.
Stop.
My Little
Stop.
Pony. Wah, 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 wah.
Thanks for that, Hunter. Okay, I didn't get the seal of approval this time, but trust me, like, there is gonna be more evidence that this is happening, because this is like an endgame, like, result, right? Like, them battling each
If
other.
this happens, I will personally binge watch every episode of My Little Pony.
You heard it here first, everybody. Hunter's gonna binge watch every episode of I'm telling you, I've been right before. How many times have I been wrong so far?
exactly
How
know.
many times? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, it was really fun to put together and kind of combine things that I like, and I mean, also, My Little Pony was kind of in there too. Anyway. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you want to talk about this theory, I know that it's like borderlining on maybe a little bit of like a crack theory, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, thank you for Huntsman Tier, Patreon, Edwin, and Academy Professor Jackson Buchanan for supporting me on Patreon. Thank goodness. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. We'll be here to review the episode tomorrow. And, yeah, maybe this theory will have even more evidence behind it if Crow fucking dies. Also, we also kind of need to see what happens to Tyrion, because somebody else may be in that slot. And, you know, if anybody, like, this is where it starts getting crack theory. I hope that it's Neo. If you guys want to talk about Neo with me, you know, you can follow me on Twitter or Tumblr or talk about Neo in the comments, because I miss her. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.